Blessings and good day, good moment to you. Robin Singler here. It is September 10th. A beautiful thunderstorm, rainstorm is going on outside, and I feel inspired to share. I haven't shared for a while. I haven't made a video in a while, and I'm feeling the call to do that. Strong call to share and extend and share about the journey. There's tremendous healing going on in my mind and in the minds of others that I speak to and communicate with every week. And it's a very, very deep letting go that's happening. It's a very important time of surrender, of starting anew, of letting go of the pain of the past. So as a Course in Miracles student and teacher, there's so many teachings in this material that I look at every day that speaks to what is going on here, and it's been just a precious time the past several weeks to really get over and over again a really clear look at what my mind is doing, what's going on in there, and how valuable I believe that pain is. So, the world is used to really, if you feel pain, there's something wrong. If there's a problem, well, there's got to be some kind of solution in the world. And watching that play out over and over in my life, I just turned 49. It's pretty clear that solutions in the world don't really do much. There is no solution as far as moving things around in my life, moving to a new area, finding another job, making a different amount of money, changing my hairstyle, losing weight, gaining weight, getting in a relationship, getting out of a relationship, dropping certain friendships. All of that can be really helpful, but nothing really solves the problem. So over and over again, it's clear that the problem is an inside job. Fixing the problem, quote unquote, is an inside job. Finding the solution to pain and continuous suffering is an inside job, and it's my responsibility to take ownership of how I feel and what my day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience is. And it can be very painful because there's a need to believe that there's a reason for me to feel guilty. And this layer of self-hatred, layers of fear and guilt and taking responsibility for everything in the past really seems to build over time on people. And you see it evidenced everywhere. This self-abusive pattern that gets played out in countless ways. And then the attempt to either cover that up, pretend it's not there, push it away, push it down. And then finally, most of us realize that that's not working either. That actually just creates more problems. And then there really is a call to, okay, let me finally get to the answer here. Like, what can I do about this? So I've been going through this time of deepening the practice and listening to, the inner guidance, the inner teacher, the true self, the spirit within me, and letting him just point me in directions and nudge me along on this journey. So I've been looking at this in particular for me, this habit of cigarettes. So, I quit drinking. I did plenty of drugs when I was younger and started drinking and doing drugs and smoking cigarettes when I was 14. And, just had a need to cover this intense depression and pain and wish to die, really. And this intense hopelessness. And over the years, that really culminated in really causing some problems. So 9 years ago, actually tomorrow, is my 9-year alcohol sobriety anniversary. And I quit smoking before I quit drinking. Quit smoking cigarettes the year prior. But I picked them back up again 3 years ago. 3 years ago, almost exactly. So, and at first I was really clear that this is just kind of a thing I'm doing. It felt really guided at the time. I was getting some really amazing joinings through smoking. But that phase didn't last long, and I found that, smoking really became just another distraction, and it came back into my life. And I've been really watching how it's symbolic for me of the need to run away from my thoughts, the need to stay the same, the desire to, in part of my mind, not welcome change. The part of my mind that wants to stay the same, the part of my mind that likes to suffer, actually actively seeks it out. It's not an accident. Nobody tells me to go buy cigarettes. Nobody tells me to smoke so many that my throat hurts. Nobody tells me to spend the money that I really could use on other things. Nobody tells me to stink up my car and all this other stuff. It's an obvious symbol of my active choice to do something that's not helpful. However, I do feel it's helpful, which is why I keep doing it. So it's this interesting thing to watch. What am I getting out of this? And it has over time become a very intense practice of watching myself continue to do this thing that I say I don't want to do, but then I do want it. So, speaking of my sobriety anniversary, it's occurred to me that this is really symbolic of a deeply held hatred belief in my mind that I have played out over and over and over and over again in relationships, friendships, relationships with men, and they're all symbolic of the relationship with myself. Who do I think I am? Seeking for relief from this crushing self-hatred out in the world, trying to change the body, trying to look like I'm okay and talk like I'm okay and get a job to where I am convincing others that I'm okay, looking for validation, desperately looking for validation. And really just getting a look at it from a detached perspective and watching how this part of me that likes smoking is really into guilting myself about this. I'm getting a good look at, okay, this is what I do. I choose what's not helpful because I'm trying to cover over this self-hatred. And I don't know what to do with this self-hatred because I'm terrified to actually let go. There's a lot of fear around that. There's beliefs that I can't. There are beliefs that I really am unworthy to such a degree that I deserve to suffer tremendously, physically and emotionally. I deserve to be isolated. I should be isolating. I should be alone. All these crazy thoughts. There's a reaction that happens in the mind that wants me to feel bad about that I'm observing these thoughts. So getting a good look at what I'm doing triggers more temptation for guilt. So it's like it seems to make it worse. And it's really interesting to watch. It's really interesting to just look at like, wow, I must be addicted to this. Speaking of addiction, smoking. So it just seems to be a way to play out this addiction to suffering, this addiction to punish myself, this addiction to pain. and I must think that I need it, and that I deserve it because I keep doing it. And in other ways too, but the smoking is really just like, come on, we got to get over this. It's 3 years now. It's time to put this down. So as I'm watching all this unfold, my anniversary for drinking sobriety is coming up tomorrow. I decided with the Spirit to, like, I need to take this as seriously as I did with my drinking. My drinking was really going to end my life. It was getting really bad, and I was not functioning anymore. I saw my whole life was about to fall apart, and I needed to stop. So I did. And I set the date ahead of time. Okay, I've decided to stop. I'm not ready to stop today, but I'm going to be ready soon, and I'm setting the date, and it has worked. And I've been blessed by just a beautiful grace and strength of determination over that, and I'm realizing I need the same thing here. It's not just smoking. It's a deeply held belief in pain and guilt and suffering that is causing this behavior. It's not just some chemical thing, you know. It's not. I don't need Nicorette. The patch isn't going to do it. Telling myself I won't stop at the store doesn't work. I need something way more intensive. I need the actual healing in my mind and my heart. So I decided that, you know, I'll just couple the drinking cessation with the smoking, because I really feel, you know, proud of myself and happy that I quit doing that so many years ago, and it was a huge improvement in my life to stop drinking. And so, you know, so that's tomorrow. And yeah, tomorrow. So as all of this deep healing is going on, and I've been watching myself play out this behavior and feeling how yucky it feels, but then being compelled to do it again and repeating the behavior, you know, it's just this cycle of letting myself just act it out and watching and feeling how it feels and deciding to do it differently now. There are 2 paragraphs in A Course in Miracles text that I was in a study group this morning and read, and it really helped to kind of summarize what's going on there, what I'm noticing, and what Jesus, as the author of A Course in Miracles, is trying to teach us here. So I'd like to read a couple paragraphs and just share about what's coming up for me around that. So I'm in the text, chapter 11. The chapter's titled God or the Ego. And I'm in section 4, the inheritance of God's Son. Woo, and the rain is coming down. I love it. It's a beautiful symbol. It's been a full moon. It's like everything's getting flushed up, and now the rain is just dumping. It's like, wash it away, Spirit. I just pray and trust that everything that is ready to be washed away is being washed away, and I'm willing to start anew. So paragraph 4 in section 4, chapter 11, starts with a very important sentence. Only you can deprive yourself of anything. Do not oppose this realization, for it is truly the beginning of the dawn of sight. The dawn of light, Remember also that the denial of the simple fact takes many forms, and these you must learn to recognize and to oppose steadfastly without exception. This is a crucial step in the reawakening. So first of all, I can only deprive myself of anything if I feel victimized, if I feel underfoot by anything. I have made that choice. And he is telling us that the denial of this fact, in other words, the desire to blame the world, a person, a place, a thing, for any deprivation is a deception. That is not true, and that the denial of this takes many, many forms. which is something I can also speak to today, which I will get to in just a moment, with the first Packer game of the season. It's coming up for me. So when I watch my behavior and I watch my mind and I see, I think I'm the victim of nicotine. I think I'm the victim of an addiction to cigarettes. I am not being honest, because only I can deprive myself of anything. If I'm deprived, and if I'm judging that, I'm also depriving myself of feeling free and peaceful. The problem is never what's happening. The problem is always my opinion. Opinion, judgment of any kind is always the problem, and the solution is up to me. So any source of suffering or deprivation comes from a choice I'm making on some level, even if it's unconscious. It's always stemming from my mind. And the forms of this vary widely, and the world is made of those forms. Pick anything. There's always an opposite to everything. There's always a counter. There's always a pro and a con. Opposites, destruction, good and bad. And there's always someone to blame, someone or something to blame. And the fact that that is not true can be very difficult to look at first. And as Jesus tells us later in this paragraph, he continues, the beginning phases of this reversal are often quite painful. For as blame is withdrawn from without, there is a strong tendency to harbor it within. It is difficult at first to realize that this is exactly the same, for there is no distinction between within and without. So this paragraph is telling me that I need to accept that when I suffer, it's because of a choice I've made. And then when I start to look at that and notice, like, wow, yeah, nobody's forcing me to feel this way. Nobody can make me believe something hurtful about myself or about someone else. So it's all up to me. Jesus is addressing what happens right after that realization, and what I've gone through for years in this practice. Years and years and years, and it's still happening now. The reversal can be painful, for as I stop blaming the world for my experience, I blame myself. Because I'm taking responsibility now for my state of mind. I'm taking responsibility for how I feel and how I live my life. I'm taking responsibility. I'm saying, wow, yeah, I'm making a choice to be unhappy. And then it's like, it's all my fault. I'm a loser. I'm not doing this right. I'm stupid. All of these hurtful, hatred-filled thoughts and beliefs get flushed up. It is difficult at first to realize that this is exactly the same thing. I was blaming the world. I was blaming something outside of me. Now I'm blaming myself. So the blame hasn't changed. It's just shifted directions, seemingly. But Jesus is saying here, it is difficult at first to realize that this is exactly the same thing, for there is no distinction between within and without. That is life-changing. That changes everything. If I can realize and over time be taught to accept that there is no difference. I can blame nicotine or I can blame Robin. Oh, that was my lesson reminder. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So taking responsibility for how I feel and then attacking myself for how I feel is the same thing as blaming something outside of me. It is the same thing. It's not a solution to the problem. It's a step, but it's something I need to let go of as fast as I can. I need to get off that track and continue to let the truth speak to me, because that is not the answer. I don't deserve to feel bad for being in need of help here. I don't need to feel bad. It's completely unjustified to feel bad because I'm watching what I do. I choose suffering. Is it helpful to then attack myself for it? Of course not. But there is still this seed of self-hate in my mind that needs to be exposed. It does need to be exposed and looked at. And as I do this over time, I see that the tide is turning. I'm not willing to hate myself anymore. I'm not willing to do this. I'm not willing to act out my self-hatred through destructive behaviors to the body. And I see it in my brothers as well, my brothers and sisters that I share with on a regular basis. We're all going through this together. It's a very deep time of saying no. No, I'm not going to continue to act out my self-hatred. I'm not going to continue to choose self-hatred. I am loved. And I can learn to be loved and loving because that's who I am in truth. It's just that the self-hatred being left unchecked in the mind continues to play out until it is finally released and let go of. And that's what I can do. The power of decision is with me. I don't have to keep doing this. But I do need to look at why. And I need to look at the source of the problem, which is, again, in my mind. It's not out there. There's nobody to blame, including Robin. She's just as innocent as anything else. So this was really powerful when I read this morning. And then in paragraph 5, it begins, if your brothers are part of you and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself. And you cannot blame yourself without blaming them. That is why blame must be undone, not seen elsewhere. Lay it to yourself, and you cannot know yourself, for only the ego blames at all. Self-blame is therefore ego identification, and as much an ego defense as blaming others. So this is really helpful. I'm getting a really clear look and some clear explanation about what is going on in my mind. I think by blaming myself, I'm solving the problem. I haven't gone far enough yet. I have more steps to go. I've realized that I'm responsible for my thoughts and my feelings and my experience. And I've allowed the act and the practice of watching my thoughts and noticing how I feel stop me in my tracks. Excuse me. And I've allowed the ego, oftentimes, to hijack the healing, to stop it, to say, well, you are responsible, and you're stupid, and you are faulty. And it's just telling me the same thing over and over again. Looking at self-hate and then saying, yeah, that's my choice. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else hates me. It's all just me. And then it becomes, it's all your fault. And that's not the road to healing. The healing is to look at that temptation just like all others and say, this is a temptation into hatred. This is just another form the hatred is taking. Don't blame the world. Now I'm going to blame me. Now I'm the bad guy. There are no bad guys. There are no bad guys. It is my choice to choose my experience, but I am an innocent student. I'm a child. I'm an infant, and I'm learning how to walk. And it's okay for us to do that. It's okay that I'm looking at the cigarette smoking. It's like, why do I love this so much? Why do I hate this so much? Why do I keep doing it? It's okay. And there's been a tremendous amount of guilt that I've had to look at through this process of watching this behavior and feeling how it feels and then going right back to it and really enjoying it at times. I truly enjoy smoking at times. It just doesn't last long before it definitely feels like a bad idea. Like I'm compromising something. And then I keep doing it. So it's like continuing down the road, even though you know it's not a good idea. You should just turn around and go back the way you came, kind of a thing. So I find this so helpful today to really get a solid reminder that any blame, no matter what direction it seems to go in, is of falseness. It's not justified. No one is to blame. But I do have a decision to make in every moment. Do I believe these thoughts? Or do I choose to stand up for the truth about myself? And the truth is that God loves me. God is love. I am love. And so is everything else and everyone else. And there is unity in that. There's oneness that I belong to. And the only one that's rejected me is me. And I choose again. And I don't have to keep, I can change my mind. I can have a peaceful, happy, joyful, passionate experience if I want one, if I really want one. But it does mean I have to give up what I've been clinging on to. And that is a lot of fear. Fear and false beliefs that are ready to be let go of. So it's a really beautiful time. I love that it's just pouring rain. I think I'm going to go out in it. I just love it. I love walking in the rain. I love being out there and just getting soaked by it. There's just something really cool about it. It feels very healing. I did want to bring up another way that this is coming up for me. You know, with the Packers game today, I am watching the game with others today. And my pattern, my belief has been that if I watch a TV, especially a football game, with others, there's usually too much talking. And I can't hear what the hell is going on. So I woke up this morning expecting and projecting my grievance onto the future. I was already upset and already resentful of what hadn't even happened yet. The game starts in like 2.5 hours. So I'm imagining in my mind a bunch of chatting going on, so I can't hear the game. I can't hear the announcers, I can't follow the game, and I get frustrated. So I'm looking to the past to see what's happened in the past, and then I'm projecting it onto the future that hasn't even occurred yet. Seemingly to me, I'm not aware of it occurring yet. So I think that's really interesting to watch my mind do that. Like, really, you're willing to throw away your peaceful, joyful Sunday morning to get angry about something that may or may not happen hours from now. Do you see that? And I was pretty adamant. You know, I was just feeling conflicted and resentful and this isn't gonna go well, this is gonna be shitty, and I was like, wow, what is that? Wow. Okay. Well, I can see myself doing it, so I can change my mind, right? And I can take responsibility for how I feel. Am I really willing to be unhappy today? Because I'm not playing the past out. This is a new experience. I'm watching the game with others. I usually don't watch the game with others because I want control. Because I want my way. I want to be right. So I usually stay away from other people and other environments during a football game because I want my way, because I think it's better. And it's isolating. So I don't watch the game with people. I never have, really. Not unless I have to. So it's really interesting. This newness, I'm trying to drag the past along with it and prevent it from healing my mind. I'm preventing myself from feeling good and feeling joyful and having a fun day. So I give that away. I put that down. I am not interested. And how could a football game be so important? And so I see that. And that's what happens in the mind with countless forms. And that's what this teaching is saying. Do not be deceived by the different forms that this is taking. You're going to blame someone. It's either going to be you or it's going to be you. It's always you. But it seems to be something else. So they need to be quiet. So really, why? I can choose ahead of time to be happy no matter what. That's my choice. That's what I can do. So I pray for help in doing that today. I don't know that I can do that on my own. I think I might need help, but I'm willing to accept the help, and I'm asking for help now. So thank you so much for joining me in this this swirl of a healing that's happening. It's such a beautiful time. I'm so grateful to be sharing and to be receiving insight and to perceive the light, just breaking apart the clouds in the mind. I'm so, so grateful. And I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I love you so much. And have a joyous and blessed day. Until next time.